Hey guys! In 2016, Apple will most certainly treat us to the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, the next chapter in its smartphone history. Rumors about these devices were already floating around even before the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus were released, which is usually the case with anything related to Apple. That's rather normal considering that iPhones are usually among the most popular devices on the market and are usually highly anticipated by users and everyone, actually. The device will likely feature fresh new design and certainly some additional horsepower under the hood, and hopefully, something fresh to woo us with. Without further ado, let's summarize all we know so far about next year's iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus champs. Have in mind that this post will be regularly updated with the latest leaks and rumors as they become available. Fresh new design. As you are probably aware, Apple has been keeping a strict 2-year window between the redesigns of its smartphones for a long time now. Thus, we have the iPhone 6s vastly similar to the iPhone 6, the iPhone 5s mostly alike with the iPhone 5, the iPhone 4s indistinguishable from the iPhone 4, and so on. This is why we're expecting Jony Ive & Co to spice things up in the design department a bit, while keeping the same unmistakable iPhone design language on board. While we don't know to what extent the iPhone 7 will shake things up in the design department, we are somewhat certain that the next iteration of the venerable iOS flagship won't stray away that much from the exterior looks of the 6 and 6s, 6 Plus and 6s Plus. Still, this is a wild guess at best, and we will have to wait for the first leaks and renders of the iPhone 7 to pop up before we can say whether it will succeed the iPhone 6 inches the design department or be something entirely different. Yes, we wouldn't mind it if Apple decided to come back to the 90-degree edges of the iPhone 5 and 5s era. In this day and age where most manufacturers are largely employing rounded frames, it would be a breath of fresh air. Still, we will have to wait a bit before we get our first glimpse of iPhone 7 and 7 Plus looks. As far as build materials are concerned, Apple is most likely sticking with aluminum, and judging by the iPhone 6s, that'd be Series 7000 aluminum. Have in mind that the 9 members of the Series 7000 aluminum family are touted as the strongest aluminum alloys around, which means that Apple is certainly sticking with it for now. We heard that the next crop of iPhones might come sans a home button and have the Touch ID functionality embedded inside the display, which falls in line with a certain patent application that we got hold of earlier in 2015. Well, we seem to have the technology, so a display with an embedded fingerprint scanning functionality will most certainly pop up in the coming years. Sadly, we can't say just yet whether the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus will be the first ones to do so. What's more, it is also suggested that Cupertino might finally jump on the waterproofness train and make the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus watertight. This was somewhat suggested by the abundance of silicone seals and gaskets that make the current iPhone Pro able to withstand a lengthy dunk in the water to some extent. Apart from physical evidence found in the 6s and 6s Plus, we also have a patent that allegedly reveals Apple is entertaining the idea of making its devices immune to the water element. We also heard that the iPhone 7 might not feature a 3.5mm earphone jack and instead rely on a Lightning one in order to slim down some weight. Reportedly, Apple wants to make the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus the thinnest iPhones ever. Cupertino is reportedly aiming poised to make its next devices roughly 6mm thick. As a reminder, the iPhone 6 was 6.9mm thin, while the 6s flaunts exactly 0.2mm on top. Apart from thinner footprint, the next crop of iPhones might feature thinner bezels due to the alleged nixing of in-cell touch panels. An improved version of the well-known glass-on-glass technology might be used instead. Hardware. It's a no-brainer that Apple is going to grace its next handset with an even speedier chipset, which will most likely be called the Apple Attain System on Chip.